Good morning, Math 6 students and Math 6 students' parents. This is Mr. Giamini. Just kind of look at 4 quick questions from the Unit 1 Formative Pre-Test. This was the one that you took at the very beginning of the school year, probably the second or third day of the school year. And I want to just kind of take a look at the 4 questions. I'll take a look at 4 more tomorrow that a lot of students missed, maybe because of vocabulary or unfamiliarity with the concepts. So let's take a look. So question 1, and you may see questions similar to this on the summative post-test, which will begin on Thursday and conclude on Friday. So taking a look, I always kind of like to use a strategy of kind of underlining keywords, things of that nature, so you'll see me highlight here. Miss Banjoff is looking for a trend to see how many minutes she spends working out each day for a week. Select the graph that would be appropriate to display this data. Circle graph, histogram, bar graph, line graph. First thing I say, I see these 4 answer choices. All 4 of these graphs or data representations we discussed in this unit, so any 4 of those make sense right now. I go back into the question. Miss Banjoff is looking for a trend. Now I see the word trend italicized, so that must mean, hey, clue into this word trend. Something that's going on over an extended period of time, something that's increasing, decreasing. So, I know a histogram doesn't show an increase or decrease necessarily over time. Bar graph possibly. Circle graph usually percents, not necessarily trends over time. Bar graph, well, I'm going to say bar graph possibly. Line graph definitely. Now, let's go back into the question. How many minutes? So we're talking about time. Minutes. How many minutes she spends working out each day for a week? Select the graph that would be appropriate to display that. So I see time here. We're talking about days over a week. Another reference to time here. Alright, so I know usually bar graphs are good at kind of categorizing data, putting them into like categories as far as bar graphs kind of, for me, kind of go back with circle graphs. We're seeing how many people like such and such, but we're looking at whole numbers here. But the key thing here is minutes and days of the week, and we're looking for a trend. So trends are great for line graphs, showing change over time. So we have D as the correct answer for number 1. A lot of kids chose both C and A for this one. A is not appropriate because we're not talking about percents. We're also not talking about proportion of the whole that selected a certain thing. Take a look at number 2. Lynn wants to show the proportion of students who have certain types of pets in his class. Decide which graph would display this data appropriately. Box and whisper, we haven't talked about that, so that's not fair for us to ask that. Scatter plot, we haven't discussed that either, so that wouldn't be fair. Circle graph, stem and leaf plot. Okay, we've talked about both of those. Let's go back into the question now. Okay, Lynn wants to show the proportion of students who have certain types of pets. So we're looking proportion. Again, we're talking about a whole and which portion of the class has a certain type of pet. Decide which graph would display this information appropriately. Certain types of pets. Okay, now I have a circle graph for stem and leaf. Now stem and leaf, I can't really tell which proportion of the students have a certain type of pet. And again, think back to stem and leaf. It looks something like this, where I have, 1 kid, 3 kids, 5 kids, 16, 17, 18. That's what a stem and leaf. That's not really going to show me what proportion of the students. So I think of proportion, I think P%. So when I think of percents, I'm always going to go with a circle graph. So that'd be the correct answer there. That one wasn't too bad on the pre-test. Okay, take a look at the next one. The data below shows the average daily temperature of a city. There's the data. Create a line plot graph that actually displays the data above. Well, first thing I notice, it says create a line plot graph. So I cannot choose which graph to make. I must create a line plot, which I know gives me a line going, it's like a number line. Now, the other thing I notice, it says whenever I have a graph or some type of data representation, I must create a title. I'll just call it average daily. I'm going to abbreviate temperature for temp. So I have my title checked because it's worth 2 points. That's probably 1 point there. Now, I need to put these numbers in order from least to greatest. The smallest number I see is an 80. And I have 180, 280s, 380s. And that's it. Okay, next I have no 82s, but I do have two 84s. 84, 84. Nothing in the 80s. 90s, I don't have a 90, but I do have 1, 2, 3, 4 92s. Well, we're looking right now at my measures of central tendency. I could tell you that right now the mode is 92. I don't have any 94s. I do have a 96. Nothing else in the 90s. I have 100. Let me scroll this up. I have not only 100, I have two 100s. I don't have, and then I have two 104s. So, taking a look at this data, now I need to make a line plot. Now, remember the thing with line plot. Some of us like to just go, oh, 80, 84, 92, 96, 100, 104. Remember, you must just not plot the data that's there if you're making your intervals. Now, I may make intervals going by 2s, I can go by 4s, I can go by 6s, I go by 1s. Now, the nice thing about this data is it actually works out great if I go by 4s. So I may start at something like, I'm going to start at 72. If I go by 4s, I go 72, 76, 80, let's see, 84, 86, 90, 94, 98, 102, 106, 110, I believe. Let me just double check if I'm going by 4s correctly. 72, yes, plus 4, 76 plus 4, plus 4. Ah, there's a mistake, which is going to throw off the rest of my intervals. Always go back and check, boys and girls. It doesn't hurt. You can't go back and check once I've graded it. So that gives me, go by 4s, 88, 92, 96, 100, 104, 108, 112. Let's just double check that again. 88 plus 4, 88 plus 4, 92 plus 4, 96 plus 4. Okay. Okay, good. Now I'm just going to plot my points. Let's go 80s. I had 2 of them. Oh, I had 3. 1, 2, 3. I could cross those out. I don't need them anymore. I had 2 84s. Oh, look at that. There's an 84 right there. Plot those 2 points there. I had 2 92s. Oh, 4 92s. 1, 2, 3, 4. That works. I had 196. I had 200s. Let's see, did I have 2 104s? I most certainly did. You know what? I'm going to label these. These are temperatures, so that if someone reads this, they know what the heck these numbers refer to. And my line plot is done. Title, plot's pointed. Temperature, I have intervals going by 4s. And I have all my data plotted. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 pieces of data, 14 pieces of data plotted. I'm good to go. Alright, I get my second point because I created the line plot. Alright, let's take a look at this question. Ooh, this was a brutal one. Daniel is a real estate agent. Okay, so he sells homes. He wants to quote a price a buyer could expect to pay for a house, so he took a sample of real estate prices. A few of the prices were significantly higher than the others. Decide which measure of central tendency Daniel should use. Explain why you made your decision. Okay, so someone's buying a house. Daniel needs to figure out what should he tell this potential buyer. The mean or the median or the mode, because it says measure of central tendency. Daniel he wanted to quote the price a buyer could expect to pay. Now he took a sample of this, so he took a sample of real estate prices. So he just kind of took not all of them, just a small sample of them. A few of the prices were significantly higher. Now it says here the keyword here, a few. So we have a few what we'd call outliers. Some of the numbers far exceed the numbers that of the general sample. So if I were to take a look, and if I think about my measures of central tendency, now the 3 measures we're talking about here, I'm just going to type them up here real quick so we can kind of remember what they are. Those could be the mode, the median, or the mean. Now I have to choose which one would best fit this set of data. Well, again, I don't know the data, but I know some of them were very high, and it was just a few of them. So because of that, I don't think I want to go with a mode, because let's say the mode was, the number that appeared most often was 3 million, but the rest of them in the 200,000s. That's not going to really give an accurate representation of the data, so I won't use that. Now again, a few of those prices are higher, so that will pull the mean up. So the mean then is not really a good representation of data. So I will go with the mean, because the median, because the median will eliminate those higher prices and give me more accurate representation of the data. So over here, the median will give the best representation of the prices for the homes. It eliminates, as I can't type, the outliers for the data, which gives a better idea, or we should say better representation for the prices of the, I can't spell the, of the homes. The mean includes the higher prices, which gives an inaccurate representation of the prices for the homes. Okay. Expect questions similar to this on your assessment, which begins on Thursday. Have a great day, boys and girls.